I am so very excited. Speaking of rolling along, see what I did there? Because we're about to release our inner geeks here. Because Dungeons and Dragons 20-sided tavern, see, rolling along, rolling. Do you get it? Like dice. Okay. Is this thing on? Hello. Okay, so the Dungeons and Dragons 20-Sided Tavern is now playing at Broadway in Chicago's Broadway Playhouse at Water Tower Place. It's an immersive theater experience that takes audiences beyond the tabletop and onto the stage, where each performance combines comedy, emotion, thrilling moments to deliver a unique narrative shaped by the audience. And joining us now is one of the show's special guest stars and a producer on the show, Anjali Bhimani. Hello, Anjali.
What's up, guys? Hello. So good to see you guys.
Hello.
Nice
So I love that this is now becoming like a yearly thing that we have a conversation. We had you on when you were coming into town to do the vagina monologues. We got to catch up last year at the Meow reunion at Northwestern, and now you are slaying.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. With the Dungeons and Dragons 20-Sided Tavern. Tell us about the show.
Sure. So for those who don't know anything about Dungeons & Dragons, Dungeons & Dragons, the 20-Sided Tavern, kind of lives at the intersection of live improv theater, tabletop role-playing game entertainment, which I'll get to in a second, and mobile gaming, because the audience gets to participate in the show and make decisions for the characters, in fact, decide who we are playing using their phones throughout the performance.
Oh my gosh.
The audience is actually helping us throughout the show. They are part of the story. They're forming the narrative along with us. And Dungeons & Dragons itself is a tabletop role-playing game, which is set in a high fantasy world where, much like live improv, you are making a story collaboratively with everyone around you. But instead of having just the audience members giving you suggestions, you are using dice to determine how well or how poorly you are able to do something. So say you want to run over and, you have an enemy and you're trying to use your sword and you're trying to make an attack. You roll a 20-sided die, which is sort of iconic to the Dungeons & Dragons game, and you roll it, and the higher you roll, the more likely you are to hit. And the lower you roll, chances are you're not going to hit. And so you may decide to do something very heroic, but those dice are going to let you know how well you can do it.
So for someone that is not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, do they have to have prior knowledge to get into this?
Absolutely none.
Okay, that's what I was hoping you would say.
Bit.
Okay, good.
000. We have, what's so wonderful about this show is that it's such a great gateway for so many people to understand that this is a game about storytelling. You don't need to know anything about the mechanics. You don't need to know anything about the dice. You don't need to know. All you need to know is that good number, high number good, low number bad, and everything else is storytelling.
Okay, I can do that. I can do those things.
Yeah, it's so easy, right?
All right, yes.
And what's been really lovely is watching in these audiences, we have multi-generational families coming in. There's something for the kids. There's something for older folks. There's something for all of us in the middle. There's something for people who play, something for people who don't play. And you get to participate as an audience member as much or as little as you want to, based on the experience you want to have.
Fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, because a lot of couples, there may be one that's really into it and they want to bring their spouse, and we can tell them it's okay. All you have to do is roll the dice and you're going to be right in there.
Yes.
Perfect.
We have had many people say, oh, my God, usually I walk into the room and I see my husband or my wife, playing this game, and I'm like, oh, they're doing their thing again. But now I get it. Now I get what they're doing, and it's so fun.
Awesome. New converts and everything. What was your, I remember, my brother playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, and he had, the big, books of monsters and things. I was just enthralled by them. I would just go through and, oh gosh, why can't I think about what is that one that's just an eyeball?
Just not the Beholder.
The Beholder. Thank you so much. It was what? Yes.
So Scott, here's the fun thing. I started playing when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So even when you and I met each other in college in it was something that was such a part of my makeup. But back then, it wasn't as mainstream. People weren't as accepting of it as being something that was cool or whatever. But with the advent of a show called Critical Role and Dimension 20 and Stranger Things and all of these things, people are starting to recognize that this is such a fun way of just getting together with your friends and telling stories. And now we get to adapt it into multiple different mediums. So the 20-Sided Tavern is making that happen in such a wonderful way, because it is enabling us to bring it to the live theater, to this improv, and also Chicago being the perfect place for us to launch the tour.
Right.
It actually came here in a completely different incarnation a couple of years ago, but now there's a new adventure. There's a brand new cast. Oops, that's my 10-minute call. Look at that.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
No, we're fine. They know. They all know.
Right.
They can't do the show without me. They'll wait for me.
They'll wait for me.
Yes, they will.
But so yeah, it's a completely different show than people have seen before. We have had people in the off-Broadway run. We actually had a super fan named Mikey who came over 60 times.
Wow.
Because the show is completely different every night. The cast rotates, and we have a wonderful, really exciting rotating cast of guest stars coming in. I'm finishing up today. We're bringing in Abria Iyengar, who is a huge legend in this space and also one of my dearest friends. We have Erica Ishii coming in. We have Damien Haas coming in. We have Jack Zwipper from Boston. We have all sorts of people coming in as guests to jump into this kind of improvised magic. But the stars of this show, I don't want to downplay how amazing our guest stars are or myself, but this cast is absolutely extraordinary. The way they work together on stage, I am mind blown.
Look, I've got goosebumps so right now thinking about it. Like, it sounds just so thrilling and so just fun, just like go and like get into a completely different world, watch people create things right in front of your eyes. They have to take audience suggestions and audience input and how everything works. Like, how much fun is this show? How in the world did you get involved with this madness?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, obviously I'm kind of involved in the Dungeons and Dragons world in my, obviously my day job is acting. We know this. I do television and I do voiceover and all of that. But I'm also in this tabletop gaming world and video game world. And I went to see the show when it was off Broadway, and I immediately sat down with the executive producer, this wonderful gentleman named David Carpenter, who also created the platform that we use to enable the audience to use their mobile phones. It's called Gamiotics. So I sat down with him and I was like, when am I doing your show? Because I'm coming in to do your show. And they brought me in April as a guest star. And that's when I saw just the magic, the absolute magic, not just of being on stage, not just of the audience reaction, but of the community that they built around this too. Because so many people really understood that this is a safe space. This is a space that you can come to find your community. When you're playing these games, there is always a seat at the table for you. There is always a place for anyone. When I was a little girl growing up in Orange County, California, and I was a little Indian girl, and there were a lot of people who looked like me, it didn't matter because there was always a seat at the table. I could be a hero too when I played this game, and that's what people are experiencing here at the Tavern. So when I saw that, I just was like, that's it. I got to come in. I got to be a part of bringing this to the world and bringing this to the rest of the country, because there are so many cities that are not really well served when it comes to new theater or groundbreaking theater. And so we're taking it all over. And I jumped on as a co-producer right then and there. And it's been a wonderful ride ever since.
So is this your first foray into producing live theater?
No, I actually produced a couple of small things before, but this is my first foray in a long time.
All right.
And generally speaking, I haven't necessarily produced work that was already in the works, because I'm usually producing things that I am creating from the beginning.
Right.
But this one, I just fell so in love with all of it. Like I said, the extraordinary cast, the team behind it, the heart behind it, that I wanted to get on this train and help in any way I could.
Girl, look, here's the thing. I'm one of your biggest fans. I really, you are you are so freaking smart. You are so incredibly talented. You are so funny. You've had such an incredible career, especially like with your role in the gaming world. How did all that come about?
Honestly, I wish it was a sexier story, Scott. I just started auditioning.
Just shut up.
Most of my entire career is, I didn't know I was allowed to do that. Oh, okay. So if an audition shows up, I'll say yes, 9 times out of 10. And for the longest time, it was 10 times out of 10. And what that enabled me to do is find all of these different ways and these different avenues to come in and do the storytelling. And like our the education that they gave us at Northwestern was so much about adapting one medium into another and so much about crossing those streams. And so I've been very lucky because my whole career has been a series of those things. Oh, I didn't know you were going to let me do an opera. I'll audition and you decide if I can do it or not. I'm not going to discount myself. I'm not going to discount myself before I go to the audition, even if I am concerned I may not be able to do it. And then I got cast, and the same thing with video gaming, and the same thing with all of that. I was a gamer when I was a kid, so I understood the assignment, so to speak. But it just happened because my agents at the time started sending me on these other auditions, and it opened up this beautiful world and this beautiful community. Gaming community is so powerful, and I really think it's because when you are playing a video game or when you are playing a tabletop game, there is a sense of agency as a player that you don't necessarily get when you're going to normal theater. You definitely get from the 20-sided tavern because you are connecting as well and you are being a part of the story.
Right.
But a lot of times when you're watching TV, you're watching the story, but you're not getting to actually make decisions for the hero. When you're playing a game, you're identifying with that hero. You have the agency to tell the story in your way, one way or another. So when you have that, then you step out into the world and you have that agency that you felt 5 minutes ago when you were playing the game, and now people can take that and move it into the world and take it with them where they go.
Girl.
So I think games are so empowering and so beautiful. It's such a great way for, especially for those of us who have come from maybe underrepresented communities, to be able to find heroes with such complex and unique stories and multi. I have a character named Symmetra who is an Indian architect who is on the spectrum, and so she's a female in STEM on the spectrum, and she's a superhero. So that multi-intersection of all of the different levels of who she is, plus her backstory, which is extraordinary, we get these complex and unique characters that are not based on one aspect of who they are. And when people get to see that, when they see humanity represented that way, that's where the normalization comes. That's where we all start connecting with each other, because no matter what, there is someone for you to identify who is powerful in that game.
Oh, my gosh. Speaking of a beautiful, remarkable, and inspiring, that is you to the core.
You were born to play this role,
I'm telling you. Well,
this is amazing.
Like, again, we were talking like Broadway and TV and movies and video games, a career that spans all sorts of media. And I love how you were able to be like, oh, yes, we were taught how to adapt one thing into another thing. It's just perfect. Anjali Bhimani, I know this is your last show, and thank you so much for taking time out because you're about to go on stage, literally. Friends out there, don't miss Dungeons & Dragons 20-Sided Tavern. It's now playing through September 28th, so you got a couple more weeks to go check it out. It's at Broadway in Chicago's Broadway Playhouse at Water Tower Place. For tickets and more info, go to BroadwayInChicago.com. Anjali Bhimani, break legs today. Enjoy your last show. Love you more than my luggage.
Well, that's saying a lot because I know you travel. So
you know, girl. There we go.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye. Thanks so much.